You guys are eating a lot of junky stuff.
Yeah, I know it's not healthy, but like you could do it like at least once in like a week and stuff because it's not really healthy. You can get fat.
Are you sure you don't eat it every day?
Not every day, but I'm not gonna lie, I do eat it often, like very often.
One kid is pushing away the goodies for a nice, healthy bottle of water.
Like eating healthy is good, but like if they want to eat like let's say a Snicker bar, it's all right, but like don't eat a lot.
But worry not. Training and food education are also part of the plan at Lupita's Market.
I mean, who knows? If I could teach a class of, you have $5 or you got $10, how can you eat healthy with those $5?
More choices, more access, and more education just might mean more residents develop a taste for healthy. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Turning now to LAPD's latest graduation ceremony as 52 new Los Angeles police officers take the oath to protect and serve. We were there for their special day.
I'm feeling mixed emotions. I'm joy, proud, just excited to hit the streets and make a difference.
A proud moment for Rodrigo Soria as he officially becomes part of the force at the Los Angeles Police Department, the second largest in the nation. He and 51 others and their families gathered at the Academy's graduation ceremony to mark the transition.
What stands out for me the most is what the badge represents. It's known across the world, not just the nation, across the world, and that's something that stands out to me the most. It's regarded as one of the best academies in the nation, and I'm proud to have completed it.
Officer Soria, a resident of the San Fernando Valley, worked in retail before joining the LAPD, and that's where he made friends with a few police officers who guided him into being a cop.
When I was 18 working for Nordstrom, the Los Angeles Police Department officers would respond to our store to pick up the shoplifters, and then just the positive interactions that I had with them encouraging me, giving me guidance, pushing me towards applying and leaving that job behind, is something that really did it for me.
Lorena is Officer Soria's mom. She says that the police academy helped her son become a man who wants to be a positive role model.
He has taken an oath to serve his community, and he's going to do it to the best of his ability. I feel very proud.
They represent the best of the City of Angels. We've chosen very carefully. It's difficult to become a police officer in this city because of the rigors that we require, not just your emotional intelligence and physical capabilities, but your heart. What's your character?
Officer Sampson is feeling all kinds of emotions as his career starts with the LAPD. Originally from Tampa, Florida, and a veteran from the Navy, he's excited for his new chapter as an LAPD officer.
It's almost unreal. I almost can't believe it, how far I've come compared to where I was the first day.
And now, as part of the LAPD family, these officers will protect and serve us all.
Want to buy some art? Well, LA is the place to be. Gil Reyes takes us to the city's biggest art show of the year.
The LA Convention Center, home to the E3 Gaming Expo, the LA Auto Show, and so many other events, hosted the LA Art Show for its 24th year. Executive Director Cassandra Voyages told us why it's unlike any other art show on the planet.
The beauty of this show is that you can visit so many galleries in one space and so many different types of artwork.
When the LA Art Show first got started back in 1994, there were just 14 galleries and 250 attendees. Now it has grown to over 130 galleries and art institutions with tens of thousands of people attending.
Timothy Yarger, a Beverly Hills gallery owner, showed us this original David Hockney, valued at $350,000. And don't adjust your television sets. These are artist Mads Christensen's Lightworks, made with energy-efficient LEDs, a hot seller at $32,000 a pop.
Part of the reason that Mads Christensen has touched collectors and buyers so deeply is that unlike a static work of art that's in your home, you might enjoy it, but these change constantly. So the emotional and visual experience has a lot of stamina. The other thing that's important, it's not on a loop. It never repeats itself.
Like cars? Well, they had cars too. An LAPD black and white, but actually just half of one. There was art from all over the world, and closer to home from ArtShare LA, based in downtown's Arts District. The space nurtures up-and-coming artists.
We focus on giving artists access, and we really kind of want to stay ingrained in the downtown community, so we thought SC Marrow would be the perfect artist to bring here.
SC Marrow, a Skid Row artist, made this piece with 6,600 pennies.
A lot of my work is about the transmutation or transformation of materials, but the underlying message is about the transformation of the individual souls,
which will no doubt be inspired at every colorful corner of the LA Art Show.
Folks at the LA Art Show say prices for individual works range between $6,000 to $1 million. I'll take 2, please. And they were off. Hundreds of runners turned out for the half marathon and 5K run through iconic Griffith Park. Grab your running shoes and see if you can keep up with our own Councilmember David Rue.
Set! Good morning. I am proud to be here on the world-famous, the largest urban park in the nation, Griffith Park, to host the 5th annual Griffith Park Run.
We're really happy to put on this event every year. The LA Parks Foundation raises money for our city parks, all 450 of Los Angeles' city parks.
Came here to Griffith Park today, had a great day.
I had a fantastic day for the 5K, and what a beautiful day with so many thousands of people running.
Oh, I think it's great. It gets people out to the Griffith Park, more involved.
I love it. I used to do the half marathon. A little bit tough on my legs because it's on the road, but the 5K is just enough.
Beautiful place, beautiful weather, and awesome people, so I'm really happy to take part here.
Over at Dodger Stadium, Dodger Mania was at a fever pitch as fans donned their favorite blues for the 7th annual Dodgers Fan Fest. Check it out.
Dodgers.
We're here at Dodgers Fan Fest. Woo! It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to lay down in the field that the Dodgers play on.
My community will come to see my team in my community.
As a super fan, I have fun with it. I've been doing this since 2012.
It's going to be a great year for Dodgers.
It's awesome to see that as much as we give and we love the Dodgers, they give back.
So I was standing over there and Justin Turner came up and he touched my hand, and I'm never washing this hand because Justin Turner touched it.
This next story can't get any cuter. A newborn at the LA Zoo is getting lots of attention, but he's growing fast, so you better hurry.
So we had our poodoo fawn born here at the Los Angeles Zoo. He's out on exhibit for everyone to see with his mom and dad. He is still pretty small and he has the spots. And at about 3 months old, he's going to be full grown. This is the first time in a while we've had an exhibit of poodoo, so we're really excited for guests to be able to see them.
So when we announced on social media, it was just going to be, here's a really cute baby animal that you can enjoy. Started to see responses on social media from people saying, oh, looks just like Hechon. Oh, that poodoo should be named Hechon. And we were all like, what's that? Who is that? Started to look into it, and fans of the K-pop group NCT have already said that the singer Hechon resembles a poodoo. So our baby poodoo is now named Hechon, and you can visit him at the LA Zoo with his parents Steph and Mario. And he'll be full size, grown up pretty soon. So if you want to see him with his spots, looking like an adorable little fawn, you should come soon.
Good news when it comes to crime in our city. The mayor puts his presidential bid to rest. And a new program helps put more boots on the ground to keep neighborhoods safe. All this in City Beat.
The two things I love the most, my family and my city,
are right here in LA. So I've decided not to throw my hat into the ring to run for president in 2020.
Ending months of speculation, LA Mayor Eric Garcetti has chosen not to seek the Democratic nomination for president, indicating he'll stay right here and continue to helm LA's continuing advances in technology, economics, and humanitarian issues. To that, the mayor announced that major crime in Los Angeles has dropped significantly since last year. These decreases directly correlate to the mayor's initiative in getting more officers out from behind desks and back on the street. Councilwoman Nuri Martinez announced a new volunteer community patrol program at LAPD Mission Division. The program is designed to support ongoing LAPD efforts in the Valley.
I'm going to ride along with one of the teams that we're going to go look for stolen vehicles. These community members are all volunteers, leaders in their neighborhoods, so they know every square inch of these neighborhoods in this community, and they're the extra eyes and ears for the police department.
From one-of-a-kind jewelry, paintings, and arts and crafts, the East LA Art Walk highlights the work of local talent and delivers quite a block party.
East LA Art Walk, it's a community organized event. It's been happening for 5 years at the corner of 1st Street and Indiana, and it happens on the second Sunday of each month. Rain, shine, or lightning. When we came up with the idea of the art walk, we wanted for something to be educational and beautifying for the community at the same time that it brought additional foot traffic for the local businesses.
We bring a vibe to the community every second Sunday, and I know it's appreciated because we always have a dance floor in front of my booth. We try to bring a diverse pool of entertainment.
We have local vendors, local designers, we have painters, local crafters that live within 2-mile radius, East LA Boyle Heights Commerce area, who come and partake of the event. The local community gets to appreciate the art.
We do a silk screening workshop as well with Cote Arte Studios. It allows the community to come and actually learn how to print, as well as create their own stencils so they can make their own art and kind of hopefully spark the next generation to be young artists and entrepreneurs as well.
It's free for the public, it's family friendly, pet friendly, LGBTQIA friendly. We are making sure that we are catering to all of these subcultures within our community.
We're trying to create a thriving economy for artists and entrepreneurs to exist. We're trying to create more business and more wealth in our communities of color. Everybody should at least experience it one time and find out for themselves how awesome it is.
But if unique food is more your thing, check out Smorgasburg LA. It's got everything you can think of, from lobster, whole fried fish, Cuban sandwiches, and ice cream. All of my favorites. It's LA's top destination for every taste. Hope you're hungry.
Zach Brooks. I'm the general manager of Smorgasburg LA. SMO.
Well, the event is based on like food. They have all different types of vendors, people who have different little shops, so definitely something that's fun to come to on Sundays.
So Smorgasburg's actually a New York company. It started in New York, where we run a bunch of different markets. It opened in LA 2.5 years ago, but it's not a New York market plopped down in LA. It's actually a LA market. All the vendors are from here in LA.
Well, honestly, this is the first time here. We're driving all the way from Riverside. Everything looks pretty nice.
There's a lot of variety and diversity around. There's a lot of different foods you could try out. Definitely a lot of delicious food.
Well, I mean, it's some of the best food in Los Angeles. I have my friends here with me from out of town. They're from West Virginia, and I just wanted them to have a very good experience.
There's pretty much something for everybody here. You can find every kind of food imaginable. We have some of the best Mexican food in LA.
From seafood to vegan to Cuban, Puerto Rican.
They have food vendors, they have ice cream vendors, they have beer vendors.
We have Middle Eastern food, Asian food, barbecue.
We want to try the lobster down there.
We're 100% free to get in every single Sunday from 10 to 4, and we have a huge parking lot that is free for 2 hours.
Don't eat breakfast. Don't eat breakfast before you come here.
Smorgasburg LA happens every Sunday, so grab your bib and stretchy pants and visit la.smorgasburg.com. A new music series is about to take center stage, help connect those experiencing homelessness with service providers, and celebrate Black History Month during a Pan-African Film and Art Festival. All this and things to do.
Explore music, ideas, and the spoken word through Compose LA, an ambitious music presentation and companion lecture series happening in storied music venues throughout Los Angeles. In this inaugural workshop, Clock Shop LA will host a symposium entitled Nicole Mitchell's Spiderweb. Don't miss Compose LA, beginning Saturday, February 9th at 7:30 p.m. Clock Shop LA is located at 2806 Clearwater Street. For more information, visit clockshop.org. The Las Feliz Connect Day event is looking for a few good volunteers. The goal is to connect people experiencing homelessness with employment counselors, health professionals, and other service providers. Lend your helping hand to the Las Feliz Connect Day, happening Saturday, February 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Friendship Auditorium. To volunteer for the event, email cd4.issues@lacity.org. Head on down to the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza for the 27th Annual Pan-African Film and Arts Festival. The festival features over 170 new Black films from around the world and exhibits from over 100 fine artists and unique craftspeople. Treat yourself to the Pan-African Film and Arts Festival happening February 7th through the 18th at the Cinemark Ray 15 Theaters at Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. For details, visit paff.org. And that's a look at some things to do.
That's it for this edition. I'm Umayman Rashid. From all of us here at LA This Week, thank you for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.
Los indios dicen que el río está cerca. We enter a spacious valley, well grown with cottonwoods and alders, among which run a beautiful river. This plain where the river runs is very extensive. It has good land for planting all kinds of grain and seeds, and is the most suitable site of all that we have seen for a mission, but it has all the requisites for a large settlement. Father Juan Crespi, 1769.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. If you could please take your seats. If everybody could please take their seats. If everybody could please take their seats, we'll get started in a minute. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Would you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Harris-Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Smith, Wesson. 13 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. I want to welcome everyone to City Hall. Everybody to the City Council meeting. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And before we proceed and go through the agenda, I want to make it crystal clear that I am wearing this New England Patriot jersey because of a bet. Because of a bet that I lost. Well, the president of the Boston City Council, and I think it's appropriate, I don't mind losing to her. She is the first African American to ever be elected president of the Boston City Council. Andrea Campbell, let's give her a round of applause. Had our team played a little better, she'd be sitting in a council meeting with a Rams jersey on right now, talking about just how colorful and wonderful I am. But since she since she won and I lost, and the part of the bet was that we would wear a jersey, and she's watching me right now, I must do this. All right, so now that I have done that, let's go through the agenda quickly.
Mr. President, approval of the minutes.
Mr. O'Farrell moves, Martinez seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Price moves and Mr. Harris-Dawson seconds. Next.
Item number 1 is an item notice for public hearing. Mr. President, there are cards on one.
Okay, continue.
Items 2 through 8 are items which public hearings have been held.
Why don't we prepare then to vote on those items? Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Continue.
Items 9 through 28 are items which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. I'm assuming you have cards on these items?
Yes, Mr. President. There are cards on all items, and furthermore, there is a request to hold 21 and 22 for amending motions.
Well, since there are cards, we'll just hold all of those items. Move on to the next section.
Items 29 through 33 are items scheduled for closed session.
Okay, let's hold those items until I check with the chair of Budget and Finance. So that brings us where?
That brings council to presentations, items called special or general public comment, sir.
Okay, so let's start with our special presentation for today. It is the start of African American Heritage Month, or as I say, Black History Month. We kicked it off yesterday. We're continuing it today, and I'd like to invite our participants. Mr. Mayor, are you the point person on this? Mr. Price, to start this off. Everybody, let's give Mr. Curran Price a round of applause.
Thank you,
Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, my elected colleagues, honorees, friends, and neighbors, it's an exciting day to celebrate African American Heritage Month. As the Council President indicated, we kicked it off yesterday with an exciting tribute to Black cinema. And if you've not had a chance to go on the bridge and see the posters, memorabilia, and memories of our Black media greats, you're really missing something. You should do so. It's another privilege to stand before you today with my colleagues to talk about the importance of African American Heritage Month. This is a time when we reflect on our history, our ancestors, how far we've come, and how far we have to go. We acknowledge those who've come before us and who remember the sacrifices that they've made for us for a brighter future. We also remember the pioneers who made the lives we lead possible, the abolitionists and activists like Sir General Truth, reformers like Frederick Douglass, fighters like Nat Turner, leaders like Shirley Chisholm. We recall our local history, the first of many people like Biddy Mason, Carlotta Bass, and Tom Bradley. There's so many great people who have gone before us, inventors, writers, scientists, men and women who've changed the way we all think. Men and women who empowered us to do more, to be more, to want more for ourselves and our families. Men and women who had the courage to do the impossible, the unthinkable, the unimaginable, to make our world a better place. Here we are today to say we remember you, we won't forget you, and we thank you for all that you did and all that you are doing. I've said it before, we must constantly remind ourselves that each and every one of us has an obligation to fulfill America's promise. The promise that people of color, people of the LGBTQ community, immigrants, people with disabilities will not be prosecuted simply because they are seen as other. We have a duty to uplift our youth and to encourage their viewpoints and fresh ways of thinking. Our world is changing dramatically. Future generations will be navigating a social, political, and ecological environment that we can't even imagine. We need them to fulfill their potential. We need them to be inspired. We need them to go forward, to break through the boundaries, and to fulfill their potential. Shortly, I'm going to introduce you to our 2019 Hall of Fame honorees. But first, I want to present several individuals who have shown leadership in public service. First, of course, is our mayor, Eric Garcetti, a strong proponent for inclusion and opportunity, a special friend to the African American community, the Honorable Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And let me say, Councilmember Smith, it's good to have you back. I'm not sure what year it is, but it feels like you should be there. Council President, you've never looked worse, but thank you for being a man of your word and a man who, the mayor of Boston doesn't do bets, and that's why he's convinced he keeps winning. So I'm going to try to convince him to bet us next time. Thank you to everybody here from the public, this esteemed body that I was so joyful to be a part of for so many years. And thank you, Councilmember Price, for your leadership for each of the three African-American members of this council, our first Black council president that I was so proud to hand the gavel over to, and Marquis Harris-Dawson, both of you as well. Thank you. And thank you to the Authors Study Club, who really has put what was Black History Month, now African American Heritage Month, together for year after year after year. Let's give them a round of applause and thank them for the work that they do, and the entire committee that has made this happen. To Commissioner Mike Davis as well, who always rounds up the talent that is here and highlights and showcases them. Thank you for what you have done. And an honor to be with my fellow citywide elected officials, our City Attorney Mike Feuer and City Controller Ron Galperin. You know, I'm a dad, so when I think about this month, I think about first what it means to our children. And when we gathered over in Merrill Suite just before this, I said this is a moment to, yes, mark the past, to make the present, but also to inspire the future. And when we see young people who are leading, not just in the city but around the country when it comes to being familiar with black history, with African American heritage, maybe you're familiar with the Ghanaian symbol of Sankofa. It's a bird that twists to reach an egg on its back. And Sankofa, I think, is a great lesson for us in this month because it tells us that looking back to the past can also give us the strength for that journey that is ahead. And trust me, we need that strength right now as much as we ever have. And it tells us that as our children learn the lessons of black history, those lessons of yesterday, that we should make sure that they never lose sight of achievement and excellence today. Because this isn't about 1 month. This is about a year of expanding a prism, of belonging, and of understanding that that history of African American heritage, of people of African descent, starts in this town from the very beginning of the founding of this pueblo. And the 4 Angelinos who we honor today, really extraordinary individuals, an artist, a judge, a business leader, and an engineer and educator. We celebrate your excellence as Californians and as Angelinos, as angels in this city of angels as well. We admire your achievements, but also what happens when you're not just doing what you're famous for, but the character of who you are has brought you here today as well. And as I often say, we don't just mark history in LA, we make history. Those 44 pobladores who first settled Los Angeles, we know more than half of them were of African descent. It's in the Spanish records. Before there was a term African American, they were African Spaniards. The foundation of some of our country's most significant civil rights gains were laid here. 8 years before Brown versus Board of Education, it was the Mendez family who led a class action lawsuit against school districts in Southern California that separated white and Mexican children and African Americans as well. So we understand as Latinos, as Anglos, as Asian Pacific Islanders and Native people, our interconnectivity as well. It was here in LA that Dr. King said, although the arc of the moral universe is long, it bends towards justice. And we see those names, Biddy Mason, a millionaire in today's terms as a freed slave in the 19th century who helped found First AME. We see the history around us. Jackie Robinson celebrated his 100th birthday just this week. Number 42, a man who not only changed the color line in sports, but was a civil rights hero to all of us. So black history is too important to narrow our gaze to just 1 month or just to be in the past. We widen our gaze to the past, present, and future, and to an entire year. This year, we celebrate the 100th anniversary of women gaining the right to vote this year. I don't know about you, but it was a beautiful expression in white in the State of the Union yesterday to see how many women are now, as the president said, getting gainful employment. We also celebrate, though, that 100 years ago, as women got that right to vote for black women, it wasn't 100 years ago, and some have not had the right to vote for more than about 4 or 5 decades. And like Sankofa encourages us to do, we should look to the past for what we take into our future. We can look back to Ida B. Wells, a journalist, educator, and founder of the NAACP who fought for voting rights at a time when the white middle-class suffrage movement pushed black women to the margins. We can look ahead to a woman who gave, I thought, the best State of the Union address last night, my friend Stacey Abrams. She came within 2 points of winning in the Deep South the governor's seat in Georgia against an opponent who just happened to be overseeing that election as well, and now she's fighting for electoral reform, making sure every voter has access to the polls. When it comes to how we celebrate each one of our heritage months, African American, women's, Asian Pacific Islander, LGBTQ history, our Native brothers and sisters, I hope it's with this expansive eye. And so I thank you for making the time. I thank this city for taking a pause. And I think we'll unveil it in a moment. I don't want to show the cover because that's what we're unveiling. But this book, of all the things that are going on in this town, I want to thank our incredible Department of Cultural Affairs, because don't just come to the celebration here today. Come see in town what we are doing as we write the next chapter. Thank you also to Southern California Gas Company, to AT&T, to Sandra Manley, and also to Union Bank for all of your help in sponsoring this and making this happen. Go there, seize history, make history, be history. Happy African American Heritage Month. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate your leadership. Next up is another public official who cares deeply about our city. He fights hard to make sure that there is justice for all. Our city attorney, Mike Fuhrer.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Mr. President, I have always thought of you as a true patriot, but I never quite thought of you like this. So I go back to Roman Gabriel and Dick Bass and the Fearsome Foursome days, Mr. President. So it's especially important for us to commemorate African American Heritage Month this year. This year marks the 400th anniversary of the arrival of African slaves on America's shores. This year, this moment is particularly difficult. Just last week, the attack on actor Jussie Smollett in Chicago reminds us how difficult a time it is. Even this morning, the unfolding, continuing saga in the State House in Virginia reminds us about how difficult this moment is. And so I think we really need today to celebrate what's good about our city, to celebrate the remarkable achievements of African Americans throughout Los Angeles now and throughout our history, and our particular honorees today. This is a teaching moment for our kids, and it is our honorees who are providing the lessons, because each of you inspires us to lift each other up, to dream big dreams, and then to act on those dreams. Thank you for that example. And I'm particularly pleased to see sitting with us my old friend, presiding judge Kevin Brazil, with whom I've had a chance to work as a justice system partner, who is both a marvelous judge but a remarkable person. Kevin, it's a pleasure to have you here and to have you be one of the honorees today. It's great to be here with my friend, Dr. Wanda Austin, who came into USC at an especially tumultuous moment, knowing it was going to be difficult, and yet your calm professionalism and your skill has been guiding one of the great universities in our nation with, I think, such alacrity that you are restoring all the luster to that Trojan campus. Dr. Austin, thank you for always being so open and welcoming with me. Greg, you just couldn't resist, could you? I also recognize we have two additional honorees with whom I don't have a personal relationship, but who are, in fact, in their own rights, especially remarkable. B.B. Winans, who I had a chance to meet this morning, really personifies what music is all about. And I did a little research, and I realized that you are a tremendous advocate for music in our public schools, something that is especially important. And when B.B. Winans was asked what his music represents, he said, love in an unconditional way. We need that right now. Yes. And finally, Ken McNeely, who's achieved so much as he's ascended at AT&T. You've shown by your example what achievement looks like. It looks like leadership and business acumen as one of the most important leaders in one of the world's leading companies. You display it by the way you are so civically engaged, by your tremendous philanthropy. I read in one San Francisco newspaper that you're also a rad dad, I think is how they characterized you, and one who was married by then Attorney General Kamala Harris to your husband, which is terrific. You have one major flaw, and that flaw, I think, will be evident to all of us soon. San Francisco is a nice place to live, but have you thought about moving to Los Angeles?
We're working on it.
Just a thought.
We're working on it.
Mr. President, you know, as we commemorate African American Heritage Month, let us know that we need to know our history, to learn from our history, to celebrate the works and the words of our honorees, and to turn to you, honorees, as symbols of what it means to guide us to be better people and to guide us to be an even greater city. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Next, I want to bring a committed public servant up who's been a friend to the African American community, a friend to all of our city, the Honorable Ron Galperin.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Council President,
Mr.
Mayor.
Mr. Galperin, 1 second. Mr. Herman, last warning. First, last warning, okay? Back to you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Council President, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Attorney. Thank you very much so much for that introduction, Councilmember Price. By the way, if it's any comfort to the Council President, my own husband this weekend posts a photo of himself in a Patriots jersey, since he's from Boston originally. And then we had made a bet, actually, before that game that whoever loses has to do dishes for the next month. So if it's any comfort, all you have to do is wear that jersey today. I've got to do dishes for the next month. It's really an honor to be commemorating African American Heritage Month, really to spotlight a history of overcoming obstacles, of accomplishment, of leadership, and also notably today highlighting the amazing honorees that we have with us this morning. It's a privilege, I have to say, to serve as controller of the city of Los Angeles, a city in which we really celebrate our diversity. And in a time when those in other places, and particularly in Washington, are seeking to deny or to marginalize our diversity, we gather to remember, to embrace, to celebrate, to say thank you. And we have 4 outstanding examples of incredible people that have gone above and beyond. And they fit into what I think of as 4 different categories: in education, in justice, in culture, and in business. These are really the 4 pillars of what our society is about: education, justice, culture, and business. Dr. Wanda Austin, who really is helping to shape the future of our best and brightest as interim president of USC. The Honorable Kevin Brazil, who is helping to bring justice to so many who seek it in Los Angeles. We have, of course, the incomparable BB Winans, 6-time Grammy Award-winning singer and songwriter, by the way, who's got the best suit in the whole place. Absolutely. I have to find out where you get this because I am jealous at the moment. But in looking even just at the titles of his award-winning songs, I think they say a tremendous amount about the message that he shares with all of us. Some of those are "I Have a Dream," "Thank You," "Coming Back Home," really important messages for all of us. And of course, Ken McNeely, who's president of AT&T's Western region and has been just an amazing leader in the business community. Also, it was mentioned Biddy Mason, who lived just 2 blocks away from here. She was sort of the original mogul of Los Angeles in many ways, a woman who was a former slave who created a fortune, who helped to create First AME and so many other incredible institutions. So we just want to say thank you, and what an honor and what a pleasure it is to be with all of you here today, and have a great and meaningful Heritage Month, everybody. Thanks.
Hey, Mr. Price, if I could just quickly recognize a few folk.
Yes.
We're joined by our colleague from LAUSD, Dr. George McKenna. Where is George? Stand up, give Dr. McKenna a round of applause. The assisting presiding judge, my old friend Eric Taylor, give him a round of applause. Our U.S. Postmaster, Joe Zapata. Where are you, Joe? Stand up. Give him thank you for being with us. The presiding judge's boss is with us. Nita Brazil, give her a round of applause. She is the presiding officer. And also our dear friend, the head of the Urban League, Michael Lawson. Give him a round of applause. The chair and CEO of One Unity Bank, Kevin Coey, stand up. Give Kevin a round of applause. And our own Jackie DuPont Walker. Give Jackie DuPont Walker a round of applause. And one more round of applause for our Arthur Study Club. Yeah. They started this We really need to show them respect. Back to you, Mr. Price.
Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Price. The time has come for us to unveil this year's African American Heritage Month calendar. I assume it's there it is, coming in. There are things, as I mentioned, that are going to be happening all over LA this month, but this will be your guide to what, when, and where. Again, a really hearty congratulations to our and your Department of Cultural Affairs for putting this together. Every year, the department does a call for artwork, and every year emerging and more established artists are featured all over these pages. So while the cover is extraordinary, really look throughout the entire book. You'll see beautiful photographs. You'll see folks that are doing things with paint, with a different medium. They're amazing. So enjoy their incredible work as you learn about the events that are taking place in a neighborhood near you. And with that, why don't we come over here and we could have Mr. Harris-Dawson and Mr. Weston join us too for the unveiling. Be more discriminating if want to join us for the presentation? Yeah. Ready? You go first, yeah. I give the last one.
Yep. Okay. Members, it's my honor to introduce our first honoree, our first Hall of Fame honoree, our Outstanding Achievement in Education, going to Dr. Wanda M. Austin. Doctor? Our first honoree is especially close and dear to Council District 9. Dr. Austin is the current interim president for USC, appointed by the Board of Trustees on August the 7th, 2018. She's an American businesswoman who is internationally recognized for her work in aeronautics and systems engineering. She is co-founder of Making Space, Inc., and the former president and CEO of the Aerospace Corporation, an independent nonprofit organization dedicated to the application of science and technology toward critical issues affecting the nation's space program. Dr. Austin served on the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology until January 2017, advising President Barack Obama in areas where an understanding of science, technology, and innovation was a key to forming effective U.S. policy. She has served on the U.S. Board of Trustees since
for a bit.
Since 2010, and has distinguished herself in the classroom, in the boardroom, and in the community. Dr. Austin.
All right. Let's give her a round of applause. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the council. I am humbled to be recognized by my city and really just delighted to be recognized along with my distinguished fellow honorees. I would just tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in the 50s, grew up in the inner city of New York, and no one was telling me that I could be an engineer or a scientist. They certainly were not telling me about how to become a CEO of a corporation. And not even my parents, who thought I could do anything, would have told me that I would end up being the president of a world-class university. But I have to tell you, that I had hope from the African American community that surrounded me and for people who tried to make sure that doors were open for me. But hope is not a strategy. My parents recognized that education was what would change my life and would enable great things to happen and for me to walk through great doors like the halls to this wonderful council chamber this morning. And so with that education, all of these things have become possible. And one of the great things and opportunities in my life is to serve as a role model to others and to remind them that with education, you get to make the choice of how to contribute in your life, to give back, and to add value. So again, I'm honored for this recognition this morning. I am grateful to our city for what we do to uplift everyone and to enable them to reach their potential and to give us all hope. And with that, I ask that we all continue to fight on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Price, we've been joined by a former member of this great body, is now the supervisor for the 2nd District. Let's give a round of applause to our friend Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas, seated to my right. Give him a round of applause. Welcome to the council chamber.
Welcome. Welcome. Thank you, Mr. President.
You.
Next, I have the honor of introducing someone who's a friend, who's a colleague, and a brother. He's my partner in, not crime, but my partner in community.
That's right.
The Honorable Marquis Harris-Dawson.
Thank you so much, Councilman Price. We're proud to be joined by all the city's leadership today to recognize African American Heritage Month. It is so great to live in a city where the responsibility for celebrating the contributions of African American people is not left to African Americans only. It's something that we all do together, and I'm proud to be a part of the celebration this morning. It is with great honor that I introduce our recipient for the Our Authors Study Club Hall of Fame for Outstanding Achievement in Business, the one and only Mr. Ken McNeely.
Yeah. There he is.
Come on up, Mr. McNeely. So, Ken serves as the president of AT&T Western Region that oversees 10 Western states, including California, with the responsibility for external affairs, public policy, and philanthropy. Prior to his role as the Western Region leader, he served as the president of AT&T California for 13 years, making him the longest-serving president for AT&T in the biggest state in the country. He served on a number of boards and has a number of community activities to his credit, including the California Chamber of Commerce, the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, the California State University Foundation, and the Bay Area Council. He's also a leader for many African American causes and many causes in the LGBT community. In 2013, he received the Black Business Association's Top 100 African Americans in Technology Award, and the following year he received the Vanguard Award for Equality from Equality California. Mr. McNeely graduated from University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and next week Mr. McNeely will be celebrating HBCUs, so we're proud to let everybody know that you're a graduate of Howard University School of Law. Let's give that a big round of applause. That's right, that's right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, let's welcome and congratulate Mr. Ken McNeely.
Yeah, give him a round. He is truly a great man and a great friend. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. This is an incredible honor to stand before you and receive this award with my fellow honorees with such distinguished professions. I want to first say, though, that the opportunity to be here today to hold the title of AT&T President, I stand on the shoulders of giants. If it were not for people like Curran Price, like Mike Davis, like Mark Ridley Thomas, like the president himself here this afternoon, the fact that we're able to see faces like yours in Sacramento as leaders in policymaking arena allowed companies like mine to be able to envision a face like mine leading its businesses in the West. So for that, I thank you. You know, and with this comes an opportunity and an obligation to make a difference. Having a seat on the table gives me a unique lens into the world of business and the opportunity to affect change. As I reflect back on Black History Month, I think in terms of Black Future Month. Yeah. Because it's all about inspiring our young people and giving them the opportunity to be able to see themselves in positions of authority and to be able to affect change. And that's why I've been personally committed to mentoring and leading opportunities for change, and really excited to be able to kick off over the next few weeks here in Los Angeles, Believe Los Angeles, where we're going to be working to inspire young people, particularly in the Black and brown community, to understand opportunities for them both in technology and in entertainment, in front of and behind the camera. I'm personally committed to the success, as is my company, and I really look forward to having an opportunity to make a difference. Thank you so much for this incredible honor and for awarding me this unique opportunity this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Sergeants, Mr. Spindler to my left, the audience has complained about you disrupting this meeting, so this is your first and last warning for today. Mr. Price, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's now my honor to introduce our Hall of Fame Award for Outstanding Achievement in Law, the Honorable Kevin Brazil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Appointed to the bench in 2002, Judge Kevin C. Brazil currently serves as the Assistant Presiding Judge for the Superior Court of Los Angeles County and previously served as the court's supervising judge of its civil division. He's a member of the court's executive committee and chair of the civil subcommittee tasked with developing the vision for how the court will operate in the future. Prior to his appointment to the bench, Judge Brazil was a civil trial attorney for the LA County Counsel's Office, and he was the first African-American presiding judge of the LA Superior Court. I present to you the Honorable Kevin Brazil.
Let's give him a round of applause. And just let me say this, Judge, you know, it's just been so great to be your friend, to be Eric's friend, to watch both of you move up the ladder, and for us to go from junior guys to senior guys. But I just want you to know I'm so proud of you and what you represent. Let's give him one more round of applause. This is one heck of an accomplishment.
I just want to say I am so honored and so humbled to be recognized. It means so much to me. Usually I'm in charge. I'm in the courtroom. So today I'm a little bit overwhelmed because I'd never expected this. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. Coming up, I was not a very good student. I barely graduated from high school. So I went to a junior college, West Los Angeles Community College. And there, it was teachers who showed me and made a difference in my life. So I feel so honored to be here with Dr. Austin, because it was a teacher who really turned my life around and has turned the lives of so many of our children around and made a difference. And it allowed me to do well at the community college. I went on to UCLA, so I know there are a lot of Trojan fans here. But I am a Bruin. Go Bruin, go Blue. And I enjoyed the work that I did at UCLA Law School, working at the county counsel's office. And one of the things for me as I reflect on today is all of the people who helped me throughout my entire life. It takes a village. You can't do it alone. And I've had so many important people in my life. And President Herb Weston, who was always there with me, who mentored me, who guided me, who supported me, who was always there back in the days when he was the chief of staff for Yvonne Burke over at the Hall of Administration, where we first met, and I would walk precincts for him, and it let me know you have to give something back. It makes a difference to give something back to your community, and I've always tried to do that. But at the same time, you have to remember those who helped you to get to where you are. So Mike Davis, who was also a mentor of mine and a friend and a supporter, Curran Price, who's always been there, who's always mentored me, who's always helped me. I saw Mark Ridley Thomas. He's another one. He's just been a phenomenal leader, a role model for all of us. And I have to, Mike Fewer, who's always been there, who's always been in my corner. So it just goes to show you that you need help, you need support. I am just so grateful for all of the people who've made a difference in my life, who've helped me to get to this point. I want to thank my good friend Eric Taylor, who's my assistant presiding judge. He will be the next presiding judge after me in 2 years. And he's been a great friend and a very valuable asset to our court. And I love working with him, and thank you for being here. All right. And for me, I want to thank the judges of our court, because I would not be standing here without the 509 judges, 72 commissioners of the LA Superior Court, their hard work, their dedication, their commitment to justice, and they make the term equal access to justice a reality by their work and their dedication. So it is a privilege for me to lead them. It is a privilege for me to work for them. It is a privilege and an honor to work for all of you and to represent the city of Los Angeles as well as the county of Los Angeles. So thank you so very much for this award, and I will do my very best to make you all proud. Thank
all
you.
right. Give him a round of applause. And Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recognize Ron Hassan with the NAACP.
Yes,
Stand up, Ron.
Ron.
Thank you for coming out to help us celebrate. Thank you.
Finally, it's my pleasure to present the Living Legend Award to an extraordinary human being who also happens to be an extraordinary singer, songwriter, and citizen, BB Winans. Come on up, BB.
Let's give him a real round of applause. Let him know that we appreciate him and all of his work. Welcome, sir.
So, BB grew up in Motor City in Detroit, which seems to have a disproportionate number of amazing singers, musicians, and human beings, and a big family of very talented gospel singers. And before they set out on their solo careers, BB and his sister Cece recorded 9 gold and platinum albums. 9 gold and platinum albums, and stacked their shelves with awards. He has gone on to light up rooms, to inspire hearts, I'm sure to cause people to fall in love, make people do crazy things, but all beautiful, because he has been honored not only by the fans who have bought the records, but by his peers. A 6-time Grammy Award winner, a radio host, a music producer, and that's a triple threat. He's a quadruple threat. He's an actor, too. So if you need him for a series, he is available, ready, willing, and able. And look how well he dresses. He has inspired us with his beautiful music. He has inspired us with his beautiful soul. And he has made that connection between expression, between faith, between the future, and our heritage that we celebrate here collectively. Please welcome BB Winans.
Thank you, Senator.
Yeah, welcome.
The Living Legend Award.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I was very comfortable with going last because of my last name starting with the letter W. But I got uncomfortable because A comes before B, but then they jumped over to M, and I'm wondering why am I last? with all these smart honorees, but I honor them today. I honor your great mayor, Eric Garcetti, and all those that I stand here with. Great friends that are in the room, Mr. Dave Stewart and various others who have come a long way to be with me at this moment. I'm very comfortable around a lot of people. As the mayor said, I was raised with about 200,000 Winans. So I'm comfortable with that. I'm kind of uncomfortable here in such a serious room. But I love what I do, and I do what I love. And I've loved to take the word through music to let everyone know that they are loved. And so today I accept this award. I love one word that's in this title, and that is living. I love that word, which lets me know I have a lot more to do. And it's very important that we take the opportunity and to touch lives. So I'm honored with this award today. I'll end this by saying to Brazil's wife, God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, it's our home, sweet home.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Price, we also have with us Pastor Smart from SCLC. Where's Pastor Smart? Give him I didn't see him. Give him a round of applause. All of the work that you've done. Bless you.
And I always want to thank our Buffalo soldiers who are here, too. Let's give them a round of applause.
Let us recognize them.
94 years young.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we conclude, earlier Council President Wesson referenced the Our Authors Study Club. They have been a real legacy organization in our community, have been the guiding force for this celebration for many years. And not only here at City Hall, but providing educational programs in the community. And so we're just so honored of the role that the R Author Study Club continues to play. We have members of their board are here with us today, and the president, Ms. Ernestine Gordon, is with us. And Ernestine, why don't you please come forward?
Let's give Ernestine a round of applause. You guys are always there. Thank you for everything that you do. Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you to Council President Herb Wesson. We really appreciate your support, and we thank the support of our Mayor Eric Garcetti. I don't know if some of you know, but back in 1950 is when it started. It's been 69 years that the city of Los Angeles has co-hosted together with our Author Study Club in celebrating Black History Month. And so it's a very special relationship, and we appreciate all that you all do. I just want to say I'm happy to realize all of the history, especially Mike Fuhrer mentioned about the 400 years commemoration of 400 years from 1619 to 2019 of perseverance that from the when the two slave ships landed on the Virginia colony, and then even until now, the perseverance of African Americans to move ahead, to progress, to break down barriers, to keep our history alive. Because you know, before you could not have, history was not being published, Black history is not being published. There was no place for people to do that. And so our founding father, Carter G. Woodson, established in 1915 a publishing company that is 104 years old. So we are very pleased to continue that mission. We're very proud to continue the mission of disseminating and preserving Black history. And again, I'll have a few more things to say when we go outside. One thing I do want to say is that we want to let you know that we have started a educational scholarship fund for Dr. Genevieve Shepard, who passed away December the 27th, because as we honor the educators here, I want to know that we will be honoring her in giving deserving high school students a scholarship. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give them our Author Studies Club. Give them a round of applause.
Mr. President, I don't know if there are any members on the queue.
It's all up to you.
Well,
it's time for you to close it. You're the closer.
I'm going to let you close it, Mr. President.
Well, just want to welcome everybody. This has been a great kickoff to our Black History Month. Let's just end this with a big round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. President.
If I could get Ms. Martinez for a moment. Ms. Martinez, I believe that I have fulfilled the obligation of my bet, so I want to get rid of this jersey.
right, members, let's resume our council meeting. If I can please, can I have people who are standing on the aisles to please clear the aisle, please? Mr. Cedillo? We're going to start public comment, so I need you to move to the side, sir. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and start with multiple card speakers. Herman?
They're going to call Herman up. Yeah, they're going to probably use it for this.
Mr. Herman, are you coming up to speak or not?
Ropes are off. Right, you're up.
You're speaking on general public items 1, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 through 19, 20, 21, 22 through 28. Go ahead.
So the walk of shame should be recognized as Gustavo Dumao. And why do I speak this way about the walk of shame? Because the history of Los Angeles is not to beautify our community, but it's to apprehensively make our community look worse. And as Trump and I have indicated in the State of the Address of Herman Union, I welcome the communication from the city engineer who has spoiled the Stewart Street Wesley terminus. Is that correct, Mr. Fauble? As you see, I don't have to wave my hands in CD 14 no more, because the elected official who does not represent CD 14 anymore is under an FBI investigation. So I'm here to instruct the engineers to report to council and to the legislative body of the Brown Act, what are the feasible vacates for this property and area. As you know, development has its hands in your pocket, taxpayers. Thank you, Jose Huizar. And then when we move forward into the $8.4 million transportation-related grants, as you heard, Mr. Bonin and his Chongo in the Transportation Committee, as we call it, transportation niggas, don't provide me or you with safe pedestrian access. And why is that? Have you not observed your streets and sidewalks with infrastructure? Isn't that what Donald Trump spoke about? Let's make our infrastructure great. Not on the basis of 127 women in white, but no. Listen to Herman. Listen to Herman. He has the instrument and the measurement to make your sidewalk and streets better. But unfortunately, my hands are tied behind my back because we got politicians stealing your money. And then when I go to the other items on this lengthy budget called the agenda, let me again talk about the Los Angeles housing community in CD 13. We're being raped. And you, the taxpayers, are asked to put money into the coffers to replace the stealing.
Okay, you got 1 minute of general public comment. Go ahead.
Now, Angelinos, how many days of this bullshit presentation are we going to take about who we call the color of our skin? I'm black. My motherfucking skin is black. No one bothers to put a poster in my behalf. We brought down how many elected officials in the city of Los Angeles for patting their fucking fat ass wallets like that fat asshole Jose Huizar from CD 14. Now you niggas know where we come from, 42 USC 1983, representing NWA. Because I got the answer. The city of Los Angeles has failed for the infrastructure of safe pedestrian safety throughout the days of my tenure here, and yet you dumb white nigger politicians want to explain to me that you're doing a good job. Fuck Mike Fuhr and fuck you, Eric Garcetti.
Next speaker, Wayne Spindler. You're speaking on items 1, 9, and 10.
Bitch talking about it.
10 through 28. Go ahead, and your general public comment.
Right. So we got here today, number 1, we got that fat bitch on her motherfucking street light for her pimps. Now, you got to understand over there in Van Nuys, you got a lot of pimps that used to work for Nuri Martinez. So she trying to get lighting paid for by the homeowners and the hotel owners to get her pimps more better lighting to present themselves with the merchandise, selling drugs and selling bitches and selling kids. So we are opposed to that. And then we get to this number 10 shit, which is the reap. Reap is reap. And they taking landowners and treating them like they're living on a plantation. Then we got subsection E and F. That's a Marquis Dawson. That's right. And he's married to Carrie, and Carrie is a horse. So you got a man married to a horse trying to get liens on South Menlo Avenue and West 84th Street. So I support the horse saying no. That's right. I say no to that horse. And then we got G&H, Kern Price. He also married a horse. And I'll provide the proof of that later. They look like a horse. And that's why we don't want them motherfuckers on that list now, because we ain't paying that motherfucker no more. And then we get to 12A, Nigger Smith. Now, you might see he look like he white reading a newspaper over there, but that fool is as black as it gets, but he getting amnesty to the Laredo Avenue apartments. We call it the projects in Chatsworth. So now we get this shit, vacation proceedings in CD9, item number 12. And I received a text from the FBI this morning on this motherfucker. Yes, sir. And they goddamn put it on Google. The FBI opposes item number 12. Current Price needs to be indicted immediately, but he can't be indicted immediately because that goddamn Garcetti paid off another motherfucker in the DOJ office in L.A. So please hold number 12 for the grand jury. Number 13, again, is that sister, Nuri, that motherfucker. She got Sermon Circle. She making a circle out of a goddamn street, so her big fat ass can rotate on her own fucking street. So I say no to that shit. And then we got 14 and 15. That's a Joe, the silver-tongued cop. He tried to hug me. I'm not gay. Sorry.
You got 1 minute of general public comment.
So we get it here. What? And look at this Weezer still on the can. So let's give him a hand. He's telling the FBI to go fuck themselves. Team Weezer's back, amigos. That's right. They gonna fight the FBI. They gonna fight the Department of Justice. He ain't resigning shit. He gonna stay right there until this place has got no other council members left that haven't been indicted. Even Greg Smith is right now texting the FBI, and we can read his phone. He says, Wayne is full of shit. I am not working with you. I haven't got my money yet. Okay, so please, will you pay Greg Smith his money? He's a double agent. He need to get paid double overtime. And that's why Jose Weezer's a piece of fucking shit. He's fat fucking bitch. He's a loser cunt. And everybody here is fucked in the ass.
Mr. Herman, you've been disrupting this entire time with flaring your arms in the air. Sergeants, can you please remove Mr. Herman from council chambers? Thank you. Please leave quietly, Mr. Herman.
So you've now been ordered removed, Mr. Herman. you were making noise during the previous speaker's comments. You walked back and forth across the aisle holding up a flag in an obvious attempt to disrupt us, and you did it. So now you can leave. And you're continuing to disrupt the meeting and preventing our business.
Mr. Previn, are you here? Eric Previn?
And Mr. Herman is continuing to shout as he leaves the room, disrupting our meeting.
Mr. Previn, you've completed cards for item number 1, 9, and 10 through 27, and your general public comment. Go ahead.
Okay, it's Eric Previn from the Studio City in the 2nd District, and these remarks are constitutionally protected, so no interruptions, Mr. Falble. First of all, I want to reference that the cultural historic designation leads to the Mills Act, which leads to a tax break, so it can be very helpful. And a good resource on that is Margaret Lee Thomas, who got it going.
So, Mr. Previn, those items were
there are
voted
three.
on. No. You're talking about the historic cultural monument designations on items 2, 3, and 4, which were voted on already, and public comment was satisfied in committee.
27, and don't shut my microphone off. That's totally inappropriate.
Mr. Previn,
27.
you're the one filling out the cards to
Thanks.
speak. Pay attention to the items
Again,
you decided
running
to
my
speak
time,
on.
totally inappropriate. 27 and 28 are TEFRA hearings. Okay. The law requires that you provide public meeting agendas. I know that the law was changed in 2016 to go into effect January 19 to make electronic okay, but not instead of. So that's an important detail. And today on African American Heritage Month, we do not want public meeting agendas removed
Mr.
from our
Previn,
public meetings.
you're not talking about any of the items. If you want to talk about paper agendas during your public comment, you can do so. You can't during your general public comment. You can't do it during the item
Mr.
discussion.
Previn, this is your
Public
last
time.
warning. Get on
27
the
and
subject. I'm
28
gonna
are
give you a
TEFRA
1
hearings. You
minute
just
general
shut my
public
microphone
comment.
down, trying to litigate with me about something that is important to the public
No,
meeting.
you're playing
I'm a
games, Mr.
watchdog
Previn.
and a journalist.
Get
You're
back on
violating
the
my
items, or I'm going to move you to general public comment.
There are 6 vacations of public property on the agenda. That was what caught Mr. Weezar's attention and the FBI, because he was, under Mr. O'Farrell's leadership, getting people to discuss it privately if they wanted to remove the logjam that went on for years. So, you're really violating people's trust by not allowing us to speak about that. The new 9th, which is a great man, great leader, has today some city property that's being liberally doled out to somebody else for a price. We haven't been able to look at it because there are no public meeting agendas in the room. And today, Herb Wesson dropped 50 grand into the charter bus program in CD10, but what is the charter bus program in CD10? And going back to the thrust of things here, I'll simply say that when Nuri Martinez herself decides to name a park something and go forward with a park in Pacoima, we are excited. We know that people deserve parks, and we're glad that she and Councilmember Rodriguez are working on that. We are not happy with Mr. Smith coming into the media and saying, who cares if Englander left early and the waste management coup took place? We're going to name it Bloom Park because we care about Mr. Englander's mother. And she's a nice woman, but the man left us with a $3.4 million cost. That's $2.4 million for the election itself. And then they're going to liberally pig out, including your own ethics commissioner, months after pushing through the weird deal, is running with her purse open at 6-1 match. Professor Krikorian, please, you're an ethically oriented guy. Does that smell to high heaven, or am I losing it? I think it's inappropriate, and I think that John Lee, who had a $75,000 payment made on his behalf by the city to put out, I guess, some sort of a, I don't know the details.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Thank you. Your time is up.
Now my general public.
Yeah, you're right. Go ahead.
Okay, my general public comment will remind you of the Freddie, it's confusing, not Siha, but Torres, Mr. Harris-Dawson's Freddie, who I guess you're going to do something, maybe give him $300,000 today, or maybe take it away and appeal, because he got pulled over with LAPD and it was awful. I don't know. I don't like that these things are veiled and nobody knows what's going on except for the people in the back room. That's why I've asked Krikorian and others to provide copies of complaints at these public meetings, because they're public records. Now, I have to turn the corner and be nice here for one moment, which is not necessarily Blumenfield's preference. The people in Studio City voted to do something smart and clear and clean, and now we need your permission. And the City Hall has to say, yes, of course, we don't want to go backwards into the traffic jam, hornet's nest that we had in 2016. And the mayor landed on the mayor's desk, because he reads the LA Times, as does Koretz. So please, just simply say, yes, let's do something that's worth doing that will make it more accessible. and better for the Angelinos and the Studio City
Thank you,
residents.
Mr. Previn. Next speaker is Antonia Ramirez. You're done. Thank you, sir. Good morning, Ms. Ramirez. You only filled out a card for item number 1 and general public comment.
Thank you. Please don't do any repairs on any streets because the fucking Latino gangbangers and the wetbacks who are hammering in the gravel streets and breaking the concrete sidewalks with hammers, drills, and chisels, and they cause a lot of accidents and they file bogus lawsuits. That's why hold off on any of the repairs. It's a waste
Ms.
of money.
Ramirez, item 1 is about street lighting.
Break the lights all the time, so what else is new? Give me a break, Fabo. We need to hold off all the repairs. It's waste, fraud, and abuse. We pay for it, and we live on the streets because we're too busy paying for these necessary things. But unfortunately, these gangbangers and wetbacks break everything because they do their crimes in the middle of the night, and they want no lighting. So it's common sense. They're going to break the damn lights. They know how to unplug the hole, the cover on the light post, and they tamper with that, and some of them are dumb enough to get electrocuted. But it happens all the time. Look at all the lampposts. They're broken.
General public comment, Ms. Ramirez.
Thank you. Spike Lee, here's a great title for your next upcoming movie. It's called Violent Niggers and Their Double Standard Chip on the Shoulder Shit. Stop rewarding the niggers and Chango Latino gangbangers. Then also the NAACP, the Black Panthers, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, Herb Wesson, and Mark Ridley Thomas, because they're nothing more than black pandering pussies. And I'm also being gang-stalked. Case in point, at the Music Center Grand Park, Block 4, bathroom. I go in there at 9:37 a.m. The black nigger the female goes in there. She starts harassing me and threatening me. She says, yeah, you're in a lot of trouble. So I'm being gang-stalked by the niggers and the wetbacks. So she goes in and then she starts pulling out the toilet paper and she starts flushing. I told this to several of the officers, including Rodas this morning. I told them that this nigger, female, along with the other nigger with a cane, they go in and they pull the toilet paper blocks 1 and 4, and they flush the toilets and causing
Thank you, Ms. Ramirez. Your time is up. Ms. Ramirez, your time is up. Thank you very much. Next speaker, Ms. Ramirez. Thank you very much. Next speaker is Michael Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez, you're speaking on item 22.
Thank you, council members. Michael Gonzalez, representing LACE, Los Angeles Contemporary Art Exhibits. I'm also a board member. LACE is located at 6522 Hollywood, which is adjacent to the development site. We welcome this housing. This site will be subject to a future agreement. We just want to be sure the council remembers that LACE is an important component of the Hollywood community, a creator of art, an exhibition space for up-and-coming artists, has been in Los Angeles for 40 years, and in this space in Hollywood for 25. We welcome the housing adjacent to our site, but we want to be sure that LACE is recognized moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Renee Moya. Mr. Moya, good morning. You filled out a card for item number 11.
Yes, hi, thanks everyone. Good morning, my name is Renee Moya, and I'm the Director of Housing as a Human Right. It's now been over 2 years since voters approved Proposition H. To date, not a single unit has been built, but a few hundred will come online later this year. Given well over 50,000 souls are homeless in Los Angeles, it is very clear we aren't doing enough to build the units promised to voters fast enough to begin to address the crisis. What's more, with the cost spiraling to $400,000 or $500,000 per unit, the 10,000 units promised voters 2 years ago is increasingly a pipe dream, with the latest estimates putting the number of HHH-funded units closer to 6,000. It should be obvious that we need to consider alternative arrangements if we are to ensure the promise of HHH doesn't end up another wasted opportunity to make a dent in our scandalous crisis of homelessness. We believe alternative ideas, such as tiny homes on public property, should be considered to build more units faster. Finally, we need to do much more to stem the tide of eviction and displacement that will tragically continue the revolving door of displacement and homelessness in this.
Thank you, sir. You also filled out a card for general public comment. Did you want to use that?
Yes.
Okay.
I would just like to bring attention to this body, of course, the cold weather that we're experiencing at the moment in Los Angeles and the impact that has on our unhoused population. The number of shelters open and available to our unhoused and unsheltered is currently not enough to ensure all of our citizens remain safe from the cold. I'd like to ask this body to do much more to provide timely alerts during cold snaps and to provide adequate resources to ensure our unhoused folks have access to shelter during these periods. This means the expansion of special winter shelters across the city. This also suggests, however, as a necessary consideration, putting a halt to police sweeps that end up destroying the property and shelter of many unhoused people every single morning in the city. The unhoused deserve dignity and they deserve warm shelter during the coldest nights of the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a speaker by the name of MC Clan? Anyone here with that name? Okay. Mickey Jackson? You filled out a card for item number 11 in general public comment. Go ahead.
HHH has some restrictions. It has some problems. They've been widely written about. One of the biggest ones is that the ineligible activities are any occupied residential structures are not eligible for that help. As a consequence, that is one of the biggest reasons we see so few units online. We need to look at HHH much closer, find ways to be more creative with it and to fund more. I think it's proven that that's true by how little we're getting done. You know, there's over 5,000 units of SRO type housing vacant because these edifices are vacating them for land speculation. The Healthy Housing Foundation has brought on and is bringing on in less than a year and within a year over 600 units with not a penny of government money of any type because we're going in and rehabbing.
Thank you. Now you have a 1 minute of general public comment.
Okay. Mr. Wesson, in your absence, and this is especially for Mr. Wesson, especially for Mr. Garcetti. You have the most power in City Council. It is up to you to clean up the corruption that landed us in the New York Times yesterday with, we are one of the 2 most corrupt cities in the country. This is not the distinction LA wants, but it's the one, unfortunately, we've earned. And it is up to the leadership to put an end to this. You could begin by vacating many of the tainted votes that took place in Plum and then resulted in tainted votes here. We have a problem. We can either clean it up ourselves or we can sit here being embarrassed while the FBI and other federal agencies clean it up for us and the national and international press reports on it.
Madam Clerk, let's move on to general public comment cards. Virgil Grant, are you here? Virgil Grant? Anybody here by that name? Donnie Anderson? Donnie Anderson? Felicia Carvajal? Felicia Carvajal? Adam Vine? LQ? Larissa Dooley? Come on up. Followed by Richard Serrano. Is Richard Serrano here? You want to come forward, sir? You have 1 minute of general public comment.
Thank you. I don't know any of you in this room, but I know that we all share a common goal. We all want to live happy and healthy lives and to give our children and the people we love the same opportunity. But climate change is a major threat to that. Scientists say that we are on the verge of multiple tipping points. If we pass these tipping points, climate change will become irreversible and out of our control. If we just continue with business as usual, broad swaths of the United States will be uninhabitable just decades from now. My 5-year-old daughter will not have a safe planet to live on. It is an urgency that puts a premium on every single day that passes. Council members, I know that you took this job because you wanted to make a real difference. You have an opportunity to do that. I urge you to do everything in your power to dramatically reduce carbon emissions from power plants in the transport sector and to fund initiatives for alternatives.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Richard Serrano.
Good afternoon, City of LA, City Council. I'm here to bring some light to a situation. I am right now an employee of the Department of Water and Power, serving the City of LA. Started off as a student worker, 13 years old, 1983. When I returned to the city, I had the unfortunate part to have a lead trainer that was a racist. And the reason I bring it up today is because I got injured 3 years ago. I'm probably at the end of my career, so I want to make a difference when everything's said and done. That trainer, his name is John Barfett. He's at the Department of Water and Power, and he said, don't forget, the next Monday, we have it off. It's Martin Luther King Day. That's the only good thing a nigger's ever done, is die so I can have a day off. Yet he's a public service worker. There's things that he's taken home and spent for himself, making fireworks to make money. I bring it to your light because I already took it to...
Thank you very much. Your minute is up. Thank you.
Chief Administrator's Office, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, Madam Clerk, that concludes general public comment. Let's go ahead and vote on item number 1. Let's open the roll. Close the row and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote on items 9 through 20. Items 9 through 20, let's open the row. Close the row and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Let's move on to items 23 through 28. Let's go ahead and open the roll. Close the row and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Let's go ahead and send items 24 and 28 forthwith. Mr. Harris-Dawson?
Request to send item number 27 forthwith.
27 forthwith for Mr. Harris-Dawson. Let's move on to the closed session items, Mr. City Attorney.
All of them.
Thank you. I believe all of these can be addressed in open session unless a member wants to go into closed. There may be a motion to continue item 30. I'm not sure.
Let's go on to Mr. Galperin. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd like to ask that item 30 be continued until Friday.
Without objection, that will be the order. Item 30.
Items 29, 31, and 32 have been approved by Budget and Finance, which recommends approval of the City Attorney's recommendations. That can be done in open session unless members have questions or concerns. Item 33, likewise, was approved by Budget and Finance and can be taken up in open session, but that should be dealt with separately than the other items. So 29, 31, and 32 can be taken up first if we could, and then we'll deal with 33 separately.
Madam President,
Sure.
for the record, item 30 is continued to Friday, February 8, 2019. And
Without objection.
all right, and then for 29 through and 31 and 32, may I read the settlements?
Go ahead.
Item 29, in the case entitled Don Redman et al. Versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend $260,000 in settlement. Item number 31, in the case entitled Lorenzo Lewis versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend $525,000 in settlement. And item number 32, in the case entitled Yale Fisher versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend $150,000 in settlement.
Thank you very much. Those members, those items are now before us. Item 29, 31, and 32. Let's go ahead and open the roll. Close the row and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Let's go ahead and take up item number 33.
Thank you, Madam President. The recommendation under item 33 is that the city indemnify officer Stephen Ruiz in the matter of Freddie Torres v. City for punitive damages in the amount of $5,000 and make the findings necessary for that indemnification pursuant to Government Code Section 825 Subdivision B.
That item is now before us. Let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
14 ayes.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to items 21 and 22. I believe the amending motions have been circulated. Is that correct, Mr. City Attorney?
Yes.
So those items are now before it as amended, 21 and 22. Let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
All right, Madam Clerk, what's before us?
There are motions for posting and referral.
Okay, posted and referred. Members, are there any announcements?
Oh, Madam President,
Sure.
real quick, there are requests to have item 21 and 22 go forthwith, please.
Okay, without objection, 21 and 22 will go forthwith. What's before us now, Madam Clerk?
There, council had motions for
Posted and
posting and referral, and Madam President, I believe you were
Posted and
about to
referred.
go.
Now we're in announcements. Are there any
Yes.
announcements, members? Mr. Wu, do you have an announcement? Anyone else? No? Okay, can we all please rise for adjourning motions? Mr. Wu, do you have an adjourning motion?
I do, Madam President.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President, colleagues. I'd like to adjourn today's meeting in honor of Grandma Kim Bok-dong. Kim Bok-dong was a comfort woman during the Japanese occupation of Korea. This meant that at the age of 14, she was forced into sexual slavery along with thousands of women and girls from Korea and across Asia during the Sino-Japanese and World War II. The trauma and pain Kim Bok-dong suffered was so great that she did not speak out for many decades. When she did speak up in the 1990s, along with other brave survivors, they were shamed, even by their fellow citizens. Many of the women were told to stay quiet, to forget, and to ignore this part of Korean history that many wanted to forget. But Kim Bok-dong could not forget, and she did not stay quiet. Day after day, week after week, year after year, she protested outside the Japanese embassy in Seoul, not just for the victims not just for the comfort women of Korea, but for the victims of sexual violence in war zones everywhere. I had the privilege of meeting many of these women as a young college student visiting Korea. The many women I met were now grandmothers, and they were not victims. They were in control, strong and full of life. More importantly, they all chose to remember and teach. Not for them, but for future generations, so they would not repeat this tragedy. Women like Kim Bok-dong had the courage to force Korea and Asia to reckon with this difficult chapter in history by refusing to stay silent. Public opinion slowly changed. Today, comfort women are no longer shamed, but seen as survivors, not just of war, but of the atrocities of colonial rule. Kim Bok-dong was one of the first to come forward with her incredible courage inspired hundreds of others to come forward, to speak out, and to demand acknowledgement and apology for their suffering. Kim Bok-dong went from victim to survivor to global leader. She traveled the world, raising awareness about the trauma of sexual slavery. She worked to bring a Comfort Woman Peace Monument to Glendale Central Park, the very same park where the Korean American Forum this past Sunday hosted a memorial for her. And we are honored to be joined by the forum's president, Phyllis Kim, along with Reverend Choi and Reverend Myo-kyung. Although Kim Bok-dong has no formal family, thousands of mourners across the world attended memorials for Kim Bok-dong's passing. She fought for her cause until her final breath on January 28, 2019. She was 92 years old. She is survived by her legacy for the comfort women of Korea and for the few remaining survivors who are still awaiting a formal apology. May she rest in may she rest in power, and may she rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rue. Our hearts and prayers and thoughts go with the entire family. Ms. Martinez?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just had an accident, but it's okay. Colleagues, I'd like to take this time to adjourn in the memory of my friend, former LAUSD President, Dr. Michelle King. Dr. King passed away this weekend at the age of 57 after battling cancer. She was the first African-American superintendent in LAUSD's history and the first female superintendent since 1929. Over her 30-year career at LAUSD, Dr. King always put students first. She was a true advocate for student success. Michelle was born on March 9, 1961, in a middle-class family in South LA. Her parents taught her the importance of education early on and then to respect her teachers and to get good grades. Michelle was a proud product of LAUSD schools. From kindergarten to 12th grade, she graduated from Palisades High School. Michelle took her parents' lessons to heart and decided to become a teacher after graduating college. After graduating UCLA with a degree in biology, she became a math and science teacher at Porter Middle School in the San Fernando Valley. She then rose up the ranks of LAUSD from teacher to magnet coordinator, then assistant principal, and eventually becoming principal of Hamilton High School in 2002. At Hamilton High, Dr. King helped raise the school test scores beyond their annual goals and was beloved by her teachers and her students alike. She then worked in a number of positions that served all students district-wide before she was named Chief of Staff to then Superintendent Ramon Cortines. In January of 2016, Dr. King made history as the first African-American woman to lead LAUSD, the nation's second largest school district in the country. From day one, she brought everyone's ideas to the table, whether those ideas were charter schools, magnet programs, or a traditional public school. She was against labels, and she would often say, we are all LA Unified School students. It's not us versus them. We're all in it together. During her time as superintendent, the graduation rate reached second highest records in the history of LAUSD. She increased access to special programs and expanded educational opportunities for all students across LAUSD. Dr. King saw herself in her students, and she dedicated to uplifting each and every one of them, and she visited 100 schools in her first year as superintendent. Parents and teachers appreciated her straightforward approach, which in turn delivered results for the district. My friend Steve Zimmer often said, one of the best things about Michelle is that she carried a powerful authenticity. She was incredibly authentic and genuine. I remember the first time we brought her to City Council. I think some of my colleagues, Mr. Price, Mr. Harris-Dawson, and President Herb Wesson, remember this, Curran? We brought her here and we held a reception upstairs here at City Hall for Dr. King to recognize her leading the way at LAUSD. She made sure that students always came first, and more than anything, I think Michelle was an incredible, true powerhouse, not only in the district, but for students. And although her time was cut short because of cancer, Michelle's legacy as a fighter for public education will live on for generations to come. Her commitment to hearing all sides of the debate is an example to follow by all of us, particularly during this time of debate at LAUSD with this strike that we just ended. Her loyalty and her dedication to students is unmatched. She was an incredible friend to me, an incredible mentor when I served at LAUSD School Board, and it just broke my heart to see that this woman's tenacity was cut short with this horrible disease. We need to make sure that her legacy continues and we live by her example of bringing all sides together, and more importantly, that we stand up for kids, especially when it's not necessarily the popular thing to do. Michelle, you will be sorely missed. I just pray that her daughters and that her husband and her brother are able to find solace in the fact that she is loved by so many of us. May she rest in peace, my friend. You'll always be remembered. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Mr. Price wants to add.
Thank you. I think Mr. Harris-Dawson also asked to sign, as well as President Herb Wesson. So
Significant loss to the entire school district, and I know all flags are half-staff in her memory at schools across the school district. May she rest in peace. Looking to my right, Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Members, I'd ask that the City Council adjourn this meeting in memory of a really incredible example of the greatest generation that served in so many ways to build the country that we enjoy now. Herbert Aldrete was the father of a great leader of Studio City, Rita Villa, who has long been involved in the neighborhood council and in other community service in the Studio City area. And her dad, Herbert, passed away in October, almost reaching his 99th birthday. He was one of 11 children. In 1933, at the age of 13, he left school to begin working, like so many during that time of the Great Depression. In 1942, shortly, just within 2 months after Pearl Harbor was bombed, he joined the United States Army and served nobly, served our country in the Army during World War II. In 1944, he married Carrie Fidelia Duron in Los Angeles during a furlough, a 2-day furlough from the Army. He got married, and then Carrie's dad, Ramon, treated them to a meal at Clifton's cafeteria, and then back he went, back to the Army to continue serving. He was honorably discharged after VJ Day on November 6th, 1945. Lived in the same house for 71 years in the City of Commerce, where he was a dedicated servant to the community there. He served as a member of the City of Commerce's Traffic Commission for 11 years and was a 71-year member of the St. Alphonsus Catholic Church. He lived his life to the fullest, enjoying family, friends, humor, travel adventures for the last 30 years, traveling the world. He'll be greatly missed by his family, friends, and community. And he's survived by his son, Ruben, his daughter-in-law, Trish, his daughter, Rita Villa, whom I mentioned, a dear friend and leader in Studio City, son-in-law, John Pooley, brother, Jorge Aldrete, and 3 sisters, Flavia Figueroa, Lydia Soltez, and Dolores Spring. May Herbert Aldrete rest in peace.
Thank you. Okay, looking to my left, Mr. Koretz.
Do we have, there we go. I'd like to adjourn as have a couple of my colleagues in what is part of a history lesson and ask that we adjourn in memory of Dr. Olivia Juliet Hooker, who died at the age of 103 years old. Dr. Hooker was born in 1915 in Oklahoma, and following World War II, Tulsa, Oklahoma is recognized nationally for its very affluent African-American community. The thriving business district and residential area was known as Black Wall Street. Then in 1921, when Olivia Hooker was only 6 years old, a newspaper reported that a black teenager had assaulted a white woman. In actuality, it was believed he had tripped upon entering an elevator, accidentally stepping upon the elevator operator's foot, causing her to scream and resulting in his wrongful arrest. A white lynch mob descended upon the courtroom where he was being held, and a group of black war veterans tried to protect the teen. And in the ensuing violence, at least 300 African Americans died. Thousands more saw their homes and livelihoods destroyed by torch. Some people were burned alive, and 40 square blocks of business and residential property were destroyed. This terrible event is known as the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. Young Olivia saw men with torches storming into the family's backyard while her mother and 3 siblings hid with her. And I recall that it was written that she had one of the first ethnic dolls and that she actually saw someone intentionally burn the doll in her backyard. Dr. Hooker would eventually go on to be among the first black women to serve in the Coast Guard, and she retired as an associate professor of psychology at Fordham University in New York. But at the time of her death at 103, she had also become one of the last known survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre and an enduring witness to what is often regarded as the deadliest episode of racial violence in American history, and one that has long become an afterthought in history texts, if mentioned at all, and shouldn't be forgotten. And I ask that we adjourn in her memory, especially appropriate considering the month that we celebrate.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. Any others? Okay, with that, we are now adjourned. May we go forth and serve the people of the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Wilmington and San Pedro have always been the gateway to Catalina since back in the late 1800s. My father, myself, and a friend of mine started Catalina Express along with my brother Tim in 1981. And we came in to actually replace the seaplanes that were at that point going out of service. So what we needed to do was replace that service with fast boats. So we went out, we bought one boat, it was a 50 passenger, and we started out with doing 3 runs a day. Well, about 1 million to 1.2 million people go to and from Catalina on an annual basis. And back in 1981 when we started, I think we carried 3,500 people that year. Both my daughter Amanda and my son Eric, they're all in the business. This building was actually built back in 1966, and it was the seaplane hangar building. They'd take off